Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. My name is Tamara, and let's go ahead and get into this life update. So a lot of things have happened this year. I have still been uploading the motivational minutes, but I have not been vlogging. So the very first update is that we finally moved. Praise the Lord. I mentioned a lot in the last season of the podcast and even the motivational minute series that in 2020 our lives just got turned upside down when we had to leave. We were staying in Jersey, but we commuted back and forth to New York. We're both in the entertainment industry. I'm an actress. My husband is a sound mixer for film and television. So in February 2020, I gave birth, became a first-time mom, and then a few weeks later, the world shut down. So then after a few months, made the decision to go back home to Buffalo. That's where I'm originally from. And the plan was to stay with my dad for a year. We ended up being there for like 2.5 years. And during that time is when I launched the podcast. Eventually, Babe did start going back to work. So he was traveling all of the time. Sometimes he was gone for like 4 weeks to 6 weeks at a time. And it was hard. It was hard. But we finally moved in, was it the top of the year? Yeah, so in January of this year. He was already taking a lot of gigs in Atlanta anyway, and that's where we were planning on moving. Even before the world went crazy, we were like, okay, after 5 years, and we were coming up on 5 years in New York, we were either going to go to LA or go to Atlanta. So after being in, Buffalo for like 2 years, and Babe's been wanting to come to Atlanta, even though we're not actually in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta during college because I went to Clark, Atlanta, and he really wanted to go to Atlanta. So I said, you know what? Let's go to Atlanta. So at the top of the year, he had a gig. He was supposed to be there for like 4 weeks. It ended up being 6 weeks. And during that time, he had the weekends off. So he would go looking for places. So we were looking at different apartments, but we were also looking at single family homes because we have an electrical car and we needed to ensure that we couldn't plug up the car. So he was looking at a few places. One place he went to, because he found this app where you can pay $1 to go visit a house. They just have a lockbox and then you have to like put in a code after you pay the $1. So he looked at a few houses that had that. And one of the houses he looked at, he called me on FaceTime and he's looking, and then he goes into one room and there's like a few things on the floor, but then he notices that the window is broken. He's like, oh, I think somebody broke into this house. Maybe somebody's squatting here. I said, leave immediately. So he had a few like weird scenarios when he was looking for places. But there was one place that we had saved. I found it back in November of 2022. And I was like, okay, this might be the place, but we'll keep looking. So he drove here one weekend that he had off, and they had garages. So we would be able to, rent a garage so we can charge the car. So he came, he looked at it, he put me on FaceTime. We liked it. It wasn't perfect, but it was basically everything we were looking for. But they didn't have any garages available. And they said, well, we can put you on the wait list. And I'm just like, man, we really need to be sure that we can charge the car. So we keep looking. But then a week later, Eddie's like, well, because there's a patio. He's like, well, there's an outlet on the patio. So if they have an apartment available that's on the first floor where the patio is facing the parking lot, then we can just plug up from there. So we called them and asked them if that would be fine. And they said, yeah. But by then the price had gone up. And like initially when we start looking, I was always planning for us to look for 2 bedrooms just because of budget. And Babe was like, no, we can look for a 3-bedroom. And I got so excited. I was like, yes, because I can finally just have my full studio now. And yeah, so a week later, the price went up. We were like, so basically the 2-bedroom became the price of the 3-bedroom. We were just like, I don't think we should push it. So long story short, we ended up going with the 2-bedroom. They did have an apartment available on the first floor with the patio facing the parking lot. So we were like, okay, so we applied and we got approved. This all happened in a week because this was, I think it was February by now. And we sent in the application, we got approved, and move-in was like the end of the month. This was like the second week of February. So I was like, I'm not going to say anything because there were so many times between that 2.5 year span where we had planned on moving. So we were like, oh yeah, we're planning on moving by the summer. We're planning on moving by the fall. Eventually I was just like, I don't know when we're moving. We'll let y'all know. So I was just like, I don't want to say anything until I know for sure that we are moving. So Eddie called me like a few days after we submitted the application. He said we got approved. He started, looking for a U-Haul and all that stuff. And I was like, he was still out of town. And I was like, oh man, I have to tell everybody. I felt so sad because my dad lives by himself. So I know he enjoyed it so much. Like my little brother was there too, but he ended up moving like a few months after us. I know he enjoyed it so much having us there, especially Selah, because she is the first, I'm the last of my siblings to like have a child, but she was the first to have that much contact with my father. Because, we lived with him from the time she was 4 months to 3 years old. We moved literally right after her birthday. And I was just like, oh, he's going to be so sad. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to call my mom and tell her, I have to call my sister and tell her. Like everybody knew, of course, we weren't staying in Buffalo forever, but I was nervous to tell them. So when my dad got home, I was like, okay, I have something to tell you. We're moving. He was like, oh, okay. I said, in a week. He said, in a week? I was like, I know. It was like, Eddie found a place. We applied. We got approved. The apartment is available now. And that's basically the reaction that everybody had. I felt so bad. I was like, I wasn't trying to just like up and leave all of a sudden. I mean, everybody knew we were constantly looking, but it did happen so fast. And this was even a reminder for me of how good God is and how he will change something for you in an instant. Because I think that I had really become so bitter because of how much my life had changed. Like I expected my life to change in 2020, becoming a first-time mom. And that was even a process to get to that point because, because of our careers, we had been waiting to start a family, even though we had been wanting to start a family for a long time. And I had baby fever. After I found out I was pregnant, I was like, okay, God, you're just, giving me what I wanted because I've been wanting to have a baby. But, we were putting it off until we felt financially comfortable and just at a great place in our careers. And God was like, nope, she's coming out. So, getting pregnant by surprise was a thing and trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? So I took my pregnancy to process that. And then eventually I was like, you know what? This is going to be great. This is going to be a new beginning. I'm going to take a few months off. But then, we started to talk about our plan and how I was going to get back into auditioning after having her and going back to work at the fitness studio and everything. All of that went out the window when 2020 came. And then we had to leave. And I basically became a stay-at-home mom on accident. And it really felt like, we were starting over from scratch. We had celebrated 7 years of marriage that year. And it seemed like we were literally starting over from scratch. When we moved, we basically got rid of everything but our clothes. I mean, it was time to upgrade the furniture anyway, because it was just like our combined furniture from college. So yeah, we basically just got rid of everything that we could. We rented, I think, the smallest U-Haul and drove the 7 hours to Buffalo. And I was really struggling because while I was so grateful at that time to be safe, I didn't lose any family. It also felt like a lot of things were taken away from me. Like, of course, we had to give up our apartment and our independence. I was just like, okay, I don't know where my career stands now. Even before, the craziness of 2020, I always felt like if we got pregnant before we planned to, that was going to be like the nail in the coffin of my career. And once everything changed in 2020, I really started to feel like this is it. Even working at the fitness studio, I was just like, okay, we're leaving. Like, I'm not going to be able to go back to my job. We were planning on being in Buffalo for a year. It was just like literally everything changed. It's a big change becoming a mom. I had to become a mom under the most ridiculous circumstances, where it wasn't just my life that changed, but the world literally changed. So when we moved, the craziest thing happened. Well, one, the way 2022 ended, it was already like a tumultuous year. And then we had this history-making snowstorm in Buffalo. We were snowed in for literally a week. I had to cook Christmas dinner I had to cook it by candlelight. I remember texting my mom and my sister. I feel like I'm a frontier woman, because thankfully, we had a gas stove. So we were able to cook food. Praise the Lord. Oh my gosh. There were so many stories where people, they had no food because they only had electrical stoves and ovens. Like, the power was out. It was just, oh my gosh. Man, I continue to praise God. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy time. So yeah, we were snowed in for about a week. And I was just like, get me out of this year. Really. But when we moved in February, it was so crazy because like the week before, like the weather was mild, basically. The day before we get the U-Haul, we get this ridiculous ice storm. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
It's the last time doing this.
Hopefully. It sucks that we got this ice storm right when we're moving. Oh my gosh. Wow. Jeez Louise. Maybe you should wait till Saturday to drive.
Me?
You have to load up the U-Haul.
It's snowing everywhere.
I know, I'm just saying, because this ice, like, what the heck? We definitely...
You're gonna be gone.
No, I'm talking about loading up the U-Haul right now. Like, this is dangerous. How we're going...
You don't need to get in that way. Just do side to action. Unless you don't mind crawling over the front.
So we had to make sure that we put all the salt down. That my brother and Eddie were in the driveway trying to break up the ice. Like, our car door was frozen. And then Eddie was trying to scrape off the ice. It was just madness. I'm like, and now we have to pack up this U-Haul with all of this dangerous ice on the ground. I was just like, You have got to be kidding me. Like, why? We couldn't just leave easily. Of course not. There always has to be some type of hurdle, you know? There always has to be. So Eddie drove the U-Haul. He put the car on the back, and Selah and I flew into Atlanta. We ended up staying with my brother for the weekend. Eddie met us there, and then we drove that following Monday to our new apartment. So my mental health. Well, when 2022 came around, I was really expecting 20. It was so crazy because a lot of us were expecting great things for 2020. I remember thinking like, oh, 2020 represents perfect vision. This is going to be our year. You know, I had, got comfortable with the fact that I was becoming the first time mom. Of course, I have a bonus mom. Of course, I had a bonus daughter, but this is our first child together. And we were just like, this is going to be our year, our careers. We're going to see a lot of things in our careers this year. And yeah. So then 2022, like the end of 2021, I was like, oh, 2022, this is going to be my year. And I was really excited because my birthday is March 22nd. So 22 is like my favorite number, only because that's my birth date. So I had high expectations again. And then 2022 started not great. And then that just continued. It was probably the most difficult year of my life. I was challenged in every way imaginable with my health, in our marriage, with our finances, in my faith. Oh my gosh. And there were so many days where I literally didn't want to get out the bed. And having a daughter has helped me with my mental health in a practical way, just because before becoming a mom, there were days where I just completely surrendered to depression. I'm like, I'm not getting out the bed, and I would just like sleep all day. But I have this human that I need to take care of. So I can't stay in the bed. I have to find the willpower to get up. But it still wasn't perfect because, I would get up and I would like feed her, and then I would just like bring snacks into the bedroom, and I would just let her watch Netflix, and I'm still just laying in the bed. And if I have to get up and take her to the potty, I'll get up and do that, but it was still draining. And I went through a lot of internal struggles, a lot of emotional despair, and I did it privately, hidden, like I did for most of my life, because I wasn't comfortable sharing so many things that I was feeling with other people and with my family. And it was hard. So 2022 was a really difficult year. So at the end of it, I was just ready for it to be over. I was so ready for it to be over. And then 2023 started. It started a little bit better, but I'm still walking through some things. And a lot of things that I'm walking with has been years of emotional trauma. And it's taken time to really unpack some things. And once you feel like you got to hold on something else is revealed, and you just have to, walk through that. So like I said before, in 2020, it literally felt like we were starting over from scratch, just practically becoming new parents and having to move in with my dad and figuring out our careers again, trying to understand ourselves and understand us as a couple again in this new life. There's been so many ups and so many downs. One thing I have learned about marriage is that you have to be committed to the continuation of learning yourself and learning your partner, because we change and we grow and we evolve. And to survive your marriage, you need to be able to do that together. So this year, this month, actually, this is September when I'm recording this, we celebrated 10 years of marriage, which sounds crazy and ridiculous. It's like we've been married for 10 years. And even our family members, like leading up to our anniversary, they were like, how many years is it going to be? And they were like 10. They're like, what? But I think a lot of people forget. So we got married in 2013, but when we were living in Savannah, because I went to grad school and he went to undergrad in Savannah. And we decided to get married before we moved to New York so we could move to New York together. So we had a small ceremony. Well, it ended up being bigger than we anticipated. I was literally like, let's just, have our parents come down. It would be the pastor. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe we should invite so and so and so and so. So just like some of our friends, and then like some of the people from church. So it ended up being like 30 people there, which I mean was so nice. So we had an intimate ceremony on the beach. And then on our 1 year anniversary, we had the big wedding in Buffalo. So I think a lot of people forget that we actually got married in 2013 and not 2014. But still, even 9 years, is like, wow. So yeah, we celebrated 10 years. Even though we didn't really celebrate this year, I kind of felt like a horrible wife too, because leading up to it, well, one, I always wanted us to renew our vows on our 10-year anniversary. But with this year, we knew, okay, we're starting over, we're moving out, but we were also planning we are going out of the country next month for a wedding. So we were saving up for that. And we knew it was so close together. It was just like, I don't know if it's going to be feasible for us to do a vow renewal. So I was like, you know what? We can just do it next year, because most people don't remember that we got married in 2013 anyway. It would be the anniversary when we had the big wedding. And then Babe was like, okay, well, maybe we can take a trip. And I was just like, I don't even know if that's going to be feasible. So I think leading up to our anniversary, I kind of got a little sad because it wasn't what I had envisioned for our 10-year anniversary. And then Babe got offered a gig. He was like, it's okay if I take it? I was like, yeah, you can take it. So we weren't even together on our anniversary. And then the date of our anniversary, I didn't know what the date was that day when I woke up. Like that week I was just in La La Land. I don't know. So Babe called me. He was like, happy anniversary. And I was like, happy anniversary. And I so did not forget that it was our anniversary today. He was like, oh, that's what's up. He was like, thought it was funny that I didn't realize what the date was. Yeah. And then a few days later, I got a little gift in the mail. I was like, what is this? And then I realized he sent me something for our anniversary. And I felt like such a bad wife, because I am great with gifts. I literally didn't do anything. Because I was just like, we're not doing anything. It's just like, whatever. But I eventually sent him a card. But yeah, it's been 10 years, and that is just a blessing in itself to be able to celebrate 10 years of marriage, because a lot of people don't even make it to 10, okay, let alone 3 or 4 these days. Okay, so that is an accomplishment. My career, it is still very much like, career, where are you? Hello, where have you gone? Like, that's how I feel. And I knew, because we're about an hour outside of Atlanta. Eventually we do want to get closer. So I knew when we were moving, I was like, I'm probably still going to have to sacrifice like another year of just being at home with Selah. And Babe is working, because the unfortunate thing about life as an actor, until you are able to really reach a certain level, until are booking things consistently, you barely get paid. And this is, it's not ironic, I guess, because the actors are still on strike right now. But yeah, so it just makes more sense for Babe to be able to work and take all of the gigs, because he's going to get paid more. Even if we work on the same project, which we literally did it like a month or two ago, he's going to get paid more than I do, which is annoying. But the crew, they're going to get paid more than the actual actors, which is very frustrating. So like I said, about a month or two ago, I did work on on a short film. So that was the first project I've done since 2020. Literally the first project that I have done. So I've been at home, with Sayla, and of course working on my own things with YouTube and any other content that I'm doing. Of course, I wrote my book last year. So yeah, it's been hard, and I still kind of question, like, am I even going to have a career anymore? And it's really hard for me to talk about because this is something that I've always felt like I'm supposed to be doing. And to not be able to do it just because of life circumstances has been extremely difficult. And I've also just been on this journey with God. Like, if I have been wrong this entire time, then I surrender it all to you. And whatever path that you have for my life, I am just going to submit myself to that. And that is a very hard thing to do when you felt like your entire life you are doing what God has destined for you. And that's not to say that I'm not. It's just I have to trust God more than I trust my talent, than I trust the career that I feel I'm supposed to have. So that's where I'm at. And I'm trying to remain submitted to that posture. The podcast. I was supposed to release season 4 last year. Like I said, 2022 was a rough year. So it never happened, but I'm actually in the midst of batch recording season 4 right now. I have on one of my merch shirts, my testimony is for the world, because after this, I'm going to go and record an episode. So I'm very excited about releasing season 4 of the podcast. I'm also kind of nervous. I don't know. It's just because of the way this year and a half has gone. I feel like I've lost a lot of confidence. And for the past few years, even before that, I feel like this has been like a lifelong thing for me, where it feels like no matter what I do, things just don't succeed. And it's very frustrating when you are talented, you're talented, you're also ambitious, when you feel like your purpose to do certain things, and things just like don't work out. Even with my YouTube channel, I'm always like, lately it's been difficult to even sit down to record content, to put it out, because I feel like, what is the point? Nobody cares. Nobody's listening. Like, these are the conversations that I have inside of my head all of the time. And it's so draining to continue to get up and do what you feel like you're called to do when it seems like there's no fruit that's coming from it. But I told myself, Tamara, you feel like you are led to do this, you have to keep doing it. You can't give up. So I started to record season 4, and I had a lot of anxiety around it. Even just showing up on camera, I've still been struggling a lot with body image. Like, I don't like the way I look on camera. I'm starting to feel like everything that comes out of my mouth is stupid. So what is the point? Just all of these insecurities, these limiting beliefs, the things that I talk about on the podcast anyway, I've really been feeling them heavy. So before I sat down to record the first episode, I was like, I need to go into prayer and worship. So I've been reading through Psalms. So I read a chapter of Psalms, and I did a devotional, and then I just turned on some music and I just worshiped and let go, and again surrendered to God. So season 4 is coming really soon. And probably the biggest update is that we got a puppy. Hi, girl. This is Coffee Latte. Yes, she has a middle name. She is a Bichon Poo. So she is about to be 4 months. So we've had her for a little over a month now, I think. She was just laying down napping. And I have definitely become a dog mom, including entering her into a 2024 pet calendar competition. Praise My Pet is a team of artistic pet lovers and pet owners who have come together to create fun and innovative designs to praise our pets on a daily basis. If you would like to submit your fur babies for a chance to be featured in the 2024 calendar, follow the link below in my description box. So I have been wanting a puppy for so long, but a few months ago I was really determined to get a puppy because I had been looking into the benefits of having an emotional support dog, you know, for helping with depression. I was like, I really want to get a puppy. So eventually I convinced Babe to let us get a puppy. I had for months, I was just like sending him all of these pictures of puppies and the kind of puppy that I wanted. And eventually we got her, and I'm so excited. Now, as far as her being an emotional support dog for me, we are still very much in the puppy phase. So at this point, she's been adding a bit more stress to my life than taking it away, to be honest. But I still love her. Yes, I still love you. Don't lick my face because we don't do that. We don't do that. But I'm so excited to be a dog mom. Hey. Hey. Hey, girl. Are you ready for lunch? Are you ready for lunch? Are you ready for lunch? Yes. Do you want to say hi? Hi. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Bless you. No, don't lick me. Don't do that. Okay, let me go put her outside for a second. So those are all of the updates. I believe I covered everything, at least, you know, the main points. So it's so crazy to me that 2023 is almost over. Like, where has the year gone? But I'm also really excited just to continue to grow and to see where my life goes. Like I said, the podcast is coming back really soon, and I can't wait for you all to tune in. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you later. Bye.